Hey y'all, happy Monday. Well, welcome back. So I hope that you're enjoying this wonderful, fabulous day here in the low desert of Arizona. The weather is just wonderful and I'm so excited. So today we have got a short little video for you. We're going to talk about germination rates because I know a lot of us, if you're like me, you have planted seeds and you're like, okay, it's been X number of days, where are my plants? I'm gonna, instead of doing a full tour because there's not a huge dramatic changes, but there are several really cool things going on in my yard. So I'm gonna show you 3 cool things going on, and then I'm gonna give you a pro tip, well, my pro tip, me being the pro-ish, a pro tip about fertilizing as we start out into this season. So let's check it out. Like I mentioned, if you're like me, you have planted seeds and now you are anxiously awaiting their arrival. Or you planted seeds a while ago and you're anxiously awaiting their arrival. So I had a discussion with one of my commenters last week about this very thing in the comments, and I thought it would be fun to share with you this same information. And I tried to model this around plants that we are currently planting right now. And I set the temperatures at 59 degrees, 68, 77, 86, and 95. This is actually from the Square Foot Gardening book. And these are the days that it would take any of these crops to germinate. So, and to me, this relates to the daytime temperature, but I think that we also have to factor in what's going on with the nighttime temperature. But I want this to give you a little bit of comfort so that you're not feeling so crazy about your seeds coming up. So if you planted beans and the average temperature was 59 degrees, then it would take about 16 days under ideal conditions for those beans to come up. And as you go across, when we get to 95 degrees, you see it takes as little as 6 days for beans to come up. Carrots at 59 degrees, it takes about 10 days. 68 degrees, it takes about 7 days, 6 days. And then as it heats up, some things turn. So for instance, carrots, as it gets to 95 degrees, it actually takes 10 days for it to germinate. And the same thing happens down here with peppers. So this is a good thing to know. Corn, again, if our average daily temperature is 68 to 77, it could take anywhere from 7 to 4 days for your corn to germinate. Your cucumbers, anywhere from 6 to 4 days between 68 to 77 degrees. And anytime we can get into the daily averages of the 86 degrees, we obviously get to shorten up our days of germination. So we were particularly talking about herbs. So if you planted herbs some 20 something days ago, they probably are just now coming up, because at 50 degrees, it takes 29 days for herbs to germinate and come up. So I hope that this gives you a little bit of comfort and understanding that you should just keep watering your plants and just keep being patient. And above all, remember that this is one of those awesome games of faith. Watering something and caring for it every single day when you can't see it. And eventually, enough warm days and enough consistent water and care from you, boom, up pops your little seedling. So I might put these down below. I might try to put them in the comments, especially if I don't feel like you got a good visual of this. But this is a good little reference point to help you see. That's why out of everything on here, lettuces and radish, they're the fastest to come up. So if it's 68 degrees or 77, these two, lettuce and radish, can pop up in as little as 2 to 4 days. So that, friends, is the germination game. Now, if you've got all your seedlings planted and a mix of transplants planted, it might be time to get thinking and planning for an ongoing fertilization schedule. And technology to me is our best friend in this scenario. So you want to decide what works for you fertilizing wise. I kind of use a blend of three things. I do a foliar feed with kelp emulsion, and I do a granular feed once a month with a local to Arizona guy, Tony's Fertilizer. And then I do a liquid fertilizer about every 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks, with like a fish emulsion. So now is the time to start thinking about how you're going to implement a fertilization schedule for your plants, because as time goes on, everything that's in that soil is not going to be everything that your plant needs. Now, your plants don't need all of that chaos that I just said. So you don't have to do everything that I said. My best recommendation is to maybe start with a fish emulsion. So decide what you're going to use, and then figure out, based on what you're doing, how often you're going to do it, and then put that on your calendar in your phone so that it's not something that you get wrapped up in forgetting. That way you don't get to a point where your plants are yellowing or they're suffering in some way, and then you have to play catch up with getting nutrients into your plant. So it's a good extra way to back up your plant. So if you put it into a calendar in your phone, or if you're a paper calendar, put it on your paper calendar. But if you put it on your calendar, then you're not going to have to worry about it. It's just going to come up and it's going to remind you, and you and your plants aren't going to have to fight that battle from coming back from some type of nutrient deficiency. So, like I said, something as simple as fish emulsion can be a nice addition to your organic gardening situation. And if you're not growing organically, that's your business. And if you're not, then your soil probably has got some kind of boosts of fertilizers in it. So check with that. But if not, my pro tip, or my Jerry tip, is to get yourself thinking of a fertilization and a feeding schedule for your garden. And that could be anything. It could be the compost tea, and it could be just adding new compost too. But more than anything, I just want you to remember that the best advice I can give is to put them on your calendar in your phone, so that when the time comes, your phone will just tell you to do this job. That's actually how I do everything in life, is by putting it on my calendar or setting a timer to tell me to do so. So I hope that helps you grow a greener, happier, healthier, nutrient-filled garden this year. A couple of pretty cool things that we've got going on are the potatoes started sprouting in the bag. So first it was this one and this one over here, and now we got that one and this little guy over here, and this one's starting to emerge. So we're gonna let them get about that big and then keep adding dirt as they come along. So that's one cool thing. Another cool thing is some of my onion bulbs are starting to kick out their first little leg of green. Another super cool thing is that my strawberries are starting to make flowers. So I'm super excited about that. Well, I hope that was all helpful to you, and that you have the best day ever, and that everything in your garden is growing so good. See you later.